Hi, it's Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today I'm going to show you this great technique for making a fabric collage using wool and foil. I'll just show you a couple of things that we've already made. This is a book cover. It doesn't look fantastic, and you can make these so that they're just personal to you. And there we have a cushion cover, and it's made using our charm square cushion tutorial. So let's get started and show you how to make this. So what we're going to need for this project is a piece of material, and you're also going to need some heat transfer foils that work with fabric. So don't buy the one that works with scrapbooking paper. It must be a heat transfer foil that works with fabric. I'm using Jones Tones foils because they do work well with fabric. You're also going to need an assortment of wools. Now you can use all sorts of different types. And you're only going to need little pieces, so if you've got little bits left over from previous projects, that's ideal to use. And you can use ribbons as well. Now you're also going to need some fusible web. I have one here. I've got a couple actually. I'll show you the two different types. This is Misty Fuse fusible web. And you can see it just lies down nice, so we're going to use that. That's going to create our glue base. And I also have a generic brand here. And this one comes on a roll with a paper backing, and you just peel it off the backing and again just lay it down on our fabric. I'm really excited about this because these always look awesome. It doesn't matter what you do. So the first thing we need to do is cut our piece of our fusible web and just a little bit smaller than our piece of fabric. Now I'm going to just place a piece of baking paper under my fabric just to protect my mat, so that if any of the fusible web does happen to go onto the mat, it won't stick. So piece of baking paper. Now we need to take another piece of baking paper and place it on top. Okay, now the next thing is we don't want any steam, and we're just going to iron the fusible web onto the fabric. Now I'll just leave it for a few moments just to cool a little bit, and just test the end to see that the fusible web has stuck to your fabric, and yes it has. So I'm just going to pull the baking paper off, and that has created a nice sticky surface for me to work with. So now comes the really fun part. Now you can do whatever you like for your design. You can be unstructured, as we've been in this one back here. It's just all random. Or you can do what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to make this structured. So what I've done is I've taken my pieces of wool and I've just laid them across like that, just straight across the fabric. Now I take my piece of baking paper and place it over top, and I'm just going to run the iron, just press, lift and press. Okay, because we want everything to stick nicely to our fabric. Okay, give it a good press. We don't want anything falling off. Okay, now once we've done that, we'll just lift our piece of baking paper to make sure that it's all stuck. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, that's all stuck nicely to my fabric. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim these edges off, because I can use these offcuts in my next layer. So if I'm going to do a second layer, but if you don't wish to do a second layer, just fast forward the video till you come to the part where we add the foil. So now I'm going to do my second layer, and before I do that I have to add another piece of fusible web. And why do we do that? Because if I take my piece of wool and lay it down here and iron it on, all it's going to do is stick to the pieces where the fusible web is showing. It won't stick to the other pieces of wool, and there's a tendency for things to lift and get caught in things. So we want it to be nice and firmly layered. So I'll just get my second piece of fusible web and lay it over my pattern. Okay, just line it up. I take my piece of baking paper and I'm just going to iron it again as we did before. Okay, just nice even pressure. We're wanting the fusible web to melt, so that's why we just make sure that we get that effect. So just do it for a little while. Again, remember, no steam. Okay, that should be about right. So we'll just let it cool for a moment. You can pick it up and wave it around if you like, with a bit of air in there. Okay. There we go. So now what we're going to do is to arrange our other pieces of wool. So I'm still going to have fusible web showing, but there is a reason for that. Now I'm going to take my baking paper, and again I'm just going to apply the iron to get that to fuse onto the fusible web. So that's my second layer done, and now I'll just go and trim those edges off, and we'll come back and do the next layer. Okay, so now we've come to the exciting part where we're going to add the foil. So I take my piece of foil and I lay it over my fabric. Now the foil is only going to stick to those places where the fusible web is showing. Now make sure that the foil is face side up, so that's the shiny side, the dull side goes down towards the fabric, and the pattern side faces up towards you. I'm going to take my piece of baking paper and place it over the top. Now you can do this any way you like. You can just iron it straight on, or you can do it in little patches, but just don't go to the very edge because it will create just a line. So try and just make some jagged pointy ironing bits in there, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so just come here, and again we're just going to iron. Let it cool again. Okay. Now. Now you can keep reusing this, so you just move it over because you've still got plenty of gold on there, as you can see. Okay, we'll just move it over a bit. And just iron again, just to fill in all those patches that were fusible web. Isn't it a lovely effect? And I'll just fill in this piece at the top as well. So you can see how unique and how gorgeous this all can be. Just make sure you take it off carefully, just gently. And there you have it, my finished piece of art. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial today, give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and you can find all the written instructions on our website at alandacraft.com.